G'day, it's Doug Jackson from DougsWordClocks.com. Today I'm here to show you how to put together one of the new word clock kits. We've been shipping these for around about 6 or so months, but I simply haven't been able to be in a position to record a new video. So we've done, and here is my new video. It should be fairly self-explanatory. The nice thing about these new clocks is that they're based on a single circuit board, a lot less wiring, and it is a much nicer way of putting the 30 centimeter word clock together. So let's make a start. So we see here the 30 centimeter word clock kit. So firstly, inside the box you'll find a power supply with interchangeable plugs. That's a plug for use in the UK, that's a plug for use in Australia, that's a plug for use in Europe, and finally that's one for use in the United States. The power supply is approved and is automatic voltage switching, so it's pretty cool. We don't need this to put the clock together, so let's put that off to one side. Now, next you'll find an instruction manual. So the instruction sheet simply refers you through to this YouTube video as well as the build manuals. You'll find a package containing baffles. We'll need those shortly. You'll find a package containing small components that are labelled as being assembly spaces. You'll find another package containing a very small quartz crystal and a backup supercapacitor. We don't need those quite yet. You'll find a package containing miscellaneous hardware. You'll find a set of horizontal baffle pieces. These are numbered 1 through 7. So hold it up that way. There's number 7, as well as a clear piece. We'll talk about that shortly. You'll find the pre-laser cut side components. In the package is also the circuit board, which has been pre-assembled for you. So this is all of the surface mount components are all installed. You'll find a internal circuit board mount piece, the clock back, we don't need that quite yet, and then a package containing the stencil mount, which is this piece here, the clock face, as well as a clear sheet of acrylic which will leave the protective cover on that. That's the clock front. We don't need these components yet, so we'll put those off to one side as well. So first things first, we need to start assembly by pulling out our small assembly spaces. So these are carefully designed pieces that are designed to slide together. There are 4 sets, and they're exactly 20 millimeters tall. What they do is they help us to locate the internal mount 20 millimeters off our working surface when we put the clock together. So here is our internal mount. Now, our internal mount can of course go 2 ways. You can see 1, 2, 3 holes for the top, 1, 2 holes for the bottom. So this is the top of the internal mount, this is the bottom of the internal mount. Let's grab the circuit board. Now of course the internal mount has to go the correct way. If you see again 1, 2, 3 words for the top, 1, 2 words for the bottom. Now if we place it on the circuit board this way, you can see that we can see the black dividers between the words. So this is clearly upside down because we're not covering the black dividers. So set that up so that it's the correct way up. There we go. You'll find that that it fits perfectly like an absolute glove. the components don't interfere with the with the material, and it's just fine. Okie dokie, sorry about that small delay, I just had to take something off my small puppy. Okay, now this is the front of the clock, so light faces out this way. This is the back of the clock. So let's place this entire assembly onto the mounts the correct way up, and take the LED off, the entire LED board off, and put that off to one side. So we still have 1, 2, 3 holes for the top, 1, 2 holes for the bottom. Now we need to grab our side components and unwrap them. I usually find it easy to grab some sort of sharp tool just to cut the paper. So we have here, this is the bottom. You can see that we've got the hole for the time set switches, the hole for the power supply socket. It goes towards the bottom of the clock. We have here the top, which has 1, 2 holes for mounting the rear of the clock, so we can put that there. And then we have 2 sides. 1, 2. Now, this is probably a reasonable time to talk about some of the materials that we're actually going to need to successfully put our clock together. First thing you're going to need is some sort of adhesive. So I use a material called Acrobond 105. Acrobond 105 is a acrylic solvent cement. You'll be able to get your acrylic solvent cement from any good quality acrylic supplier, either in the United States, in England or Europe, or in Australia. I cannot provide the acrylic solvent because I'm not able to transport it via air. I use what's called a solvent applicator, which is a small container that has a syringe tip which is blunt. It's very important to have a blunt syringe tip, and it can be full of the solvent, and that lets me apply the solvent very easily. Now, because I'm using solvent, I use a personal protective mask. This is a 3M vapor, organic vapor mask. I also, because I do lots and lots and lots of clocks, on the workbench I have an extraction system that sucks all of the nasty fumes up for me, so I don't have to breathe them regularly. But you can assemble a clock in your workshop without any issues, as long as you're wearing appropriate personal protective equipment. You'll also, of course, need a pair of side cutters. You'll need a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a pair of pliers. So that's the set of tools. So let's start assembly by getting our bottom, the bottom of the clock, and we need to make sure that the power socket is at the top, so facing the rear of the clock frame as we're putting it together here. So first things first, mask on. Okay, mask on. Now you've probably noticed that my voice has changed a little bit. That's entirely normal, something about it being covered. So, mask on. I'll talk a little bit more enthusiastically. Hopefully that will improve the quality of the audio. And just a tiny, tiny dribble of the acrylic solvent. Now, you'll notice that the acrylic solvent is water consistency, and it does bond fairly quickly, but we just have to let it work. Now, I'm in Canberra, of course. Canberra is currently experiencing a little bit of a cold spell. The temperature outside is around about 6 or so degrees. That means things like acrylic solvents because remember I'm in my workshop, so it's a little bit warmer. It's probably about 12 in here. The acrylic solvent takes a little bit longer to cure when it's in a cold environment. So again, just a gentle dribble, and you'll find that it looks after itself. You've just got to be gentle with it. Now you'll also notice that I'm working on a workbench. In this particular case, for this video, I have put in place a one of these marking out sheets, because to be honest, my workbench is covered in marks and holes and cuts, and it's not particularly pretty. But this, please don't assemble these on your kitchen bench at home, because the solvent would in fact play bad games with your beautiful finish on your oak table. So be very careful not to do that. Okay, so the solvent has now been applied to the frame. Let's get rid of our mask. Mask off. Solvent off to one side. We don't need that. Now we'll let our frame cure for a minute. While it's busy curing, we can get the horizontal baffles, and we just need to get these into a state where they're ready to apply. So first baffle out, just remove the sticky tape holding the bundle together. I am very careful when I actually get the kits ready to be shipped to make sure that the everything is protected from shipping damage. So we don't need this clear piece. We'll use that to mount the back shortly. So what we need to do, we need to examine each of these pieces. This is baffle number 2, and we can see it's got 3 holes waiting for it. Baffle number 3, all of the holes are clear. Baffle number 1, all of the holes are clear. Baffle number 7, all of the holes are clear. Very repetitive process. Baffle 5, all the holes are clear. Baffle number 6, aha! We have a small piece of material in one of the slots, so we just need to remove that. So it's just a case of sliding that tiny little piece of rubbish out and putting it off to one side. And then finally we check baffle number 4. That's in a good position as well. Now let's grab the box containing the vertical baffles. So here are all of the little pieces. So what we need to do here, we need to just double check that the swarf effectively has been removed from each of the components. So we have here a tiny little piece of junk acrylic, and we just need to remove that. So we'll just examine each of these baffles. So there are 2 types of these baffles. There are 3 that have 1 set of shoulders. So if we go here, examine that, you'll notice that that has 1 shoulder. Put that off to one side. But this one has 2 shoulders. 2. So put that off to the other side. So we'll make a little stack of ones that have 2 shoulders and a little stack of ones that have 1 shoulder, and that'll help simplify assembly once we're in a position to once we're in a position to turn the frame over. Now while we're doing this, of course, the frame is busy curing. It only takes a minute or so for the acrylic solvent to flash off, so that it will start firming up, and that's a nice easy thing to have happen. There we go, 1 shoulder. 2 shoulders, a little handful of rubbish black bits of acrylic. That's cool. Now, notice that it tried to glue itself to the working surface. That is entirely normal. Now remember, this is the back of the clock. This is the place where the circuit board will be installed. Turn the clock over. This is the front of the clock. So we need to start off by putting our baffle number 1 towards the top and putting two of these one shoulder vertical baffles in to support it. Now we need to put in baffle number 2, which is this one down here. Now you notice all the baffles flop around a bit. We'll actually apply a little bit of solvent in just a second to stop that happening, because it is very, very frustrating. Now, before we grab the solvent, of course, personal protective equipment. It's very, very important to be able to enjoy your clock in your old age. Some chemicals are not very nice. Acrylic solvent is one of them. So here we go. Just a little bit of solvent. Now we'll continue on with baffle number 3. In it goes. And you probably can't see it on the video, but that solvent has started to flash off nicely, so the acrylic is staying where it's put. Baffle number 4. Baffle number 5. So as I mentioned earlier, each of these baffles is individually numbered to make assembly easy. I'd hate to do this if they weren't numbered. There'd be this continuous experiment. Baffle number 6. These two. Baffle number 7. And finally the bottom piece. So just give these a little straighten up. They're already firm. Now, I just apply a small amount of solvent to the verticals, and because it is a water clear solvent, it flows really, really well. And then a little bit to the margins of these. Now, don't panic about the alignment of these baffles at this stage, because to be completely honest, it doesn't matter terribly much. There's a significant number of millimeters of accuracy clearance built into the design, so it's just a case of straightening things up so that it's optically straight, and then that'll be fine. So let's give this just a minute just to flash off. Now, do you remember in the face components there was this stencil mount and a side and a surround piece? We do need to install that. Now, firstly, the side piece doesn't matter what way on it goes at all. It's neither here nor there. This piece will go on last once we finish assembling the clock, so it will go on that way, but take that off, leave it off to one side. So now we just need to bond this to the frame. So I use, again, just a little dribble of solvent. Up we go, and a little dribble down the bottom. There we go. Simple as that. Give it a second to bond a little bit. Then we'll turn the entire frame over. We don't need these assembly spaces anymore. They can go off into the rubbish, and we'll just put the clock frame down. Now I'll just use a small sharp tool to remove this paper from the side. Small sharp tool to remove the paper. Almost 20 minutes worth of video. And then run a bead of the acrylic solvent down each side, down the bottom, and then down the top, and that's it. Our frame is now assembled. We can take this frame, we can leave it off to one side. When I'm manufacturing the clocks, I actually leave the frames for a significant number of days before I continue doing work on them, because I want them to be as strong as they can possibly be. So that's that. Okay, I hope that video was helpful for this particular stage, and the next video will show you how to install the electronics inside the clock. Take care and see you later.